What's good, duelists? New little update here with the OCG metagame breakdown. We see that Fire Kings have pretty much kind of dominated. I mean, 27%, and then Rescue Ace, that's pretty much about half of the tops are just these two decks. Now, you might say that, like, that's just because of Max C. I don't know if that's the case. I don't think, like, this deck would be... Fire Kings are the strongest deck into Max C. Obviously, you can chain their Shibara, but besides that, I don't think it's, like, a strong deck into Max C. So I don't think that's just the reason. But there's a lot of interesting things about this. This one's actually running the Snake Eye cards in tandem with it because they do have the Populous Snake Eye. Populous is just a great card. I think with Populous coming out, it's gonna mean like why play more than one copy of Dark Witch? Because it's basically like opening Dark Witch by itself is kind of a -1, or using Bonfire to search Populous is, you know, just straight up 1-for-1. It's literally just 1-for-1 with no cost, which is kind of insane, right? If 1-for-1 just said special summon a level 1 monster, you would play that shit. So like that's why people are onto Bonfire. That's what makes Bonfire so good. Obviously the caveat to that is Droll and Lockbird, which is why I believe we see 2 Droll and Lockbirds in the main deck here. Because I mean, Droll is just going to be insane if everyone's running Bonfire. Even with the TCG, now we see like Upstart coming back, Desire's coming back. Droll and Lockbird is like, I don't know, because I always think Droll and Lockbird is literally the trap. Like, it's never good in the main deck every time anyone thinks it is. They're doing too much. But I really think like it hits 3 out of what I think the 4 best decks are. I think the 4 best decks next format are like Fire Kings, Lab, Rescue Ace, and then, you know, Manadium. And Droll hits every deck besides Lab really hard there. So I could see actually Droll maybe being main deck. But at the same time, you're still probably gonna only play against 1 of every deck at a YCS. You're not probably like at most 3. So it's still up in the air, I guess. He's actually only playing 1 of the new Garunix. I think that's kind of interesting. I kind of like this card at 3 a lot. Maybe with the TCG, it's different because, you know, with the TCG, we have Lab as such a dominant deck. And I do think Fire King's matchup versus Lab is really good. And it's even stronger if you play like more copies of this card. And then 3 of this, also really good, like Destroy versus Lab. We see, and then we have the Snake Eye engine, pretty much just search specials itself. The specials to the level 1 fires. It's a really good card. I don't think like these in particular are like the most necessary, but they are good. And then 3 Max C, only 2 Island, and only 2 of the continuous spell. They're actually running Circle of the Fire Kings. It's really interesting about this one is we're running the Snake Eye, the new Snake Eye spell Disruption, but we're actually not running the Fire King quick play spell Disruption. Another card that I think is really good versus Labyrinth because you can, you know, it chain blocks the Lady Labyrinth, set the trap effect, and it also destroys multiple cards. Like, it doesn't get much better than that, and it's a spell card. Like, I don't know, that card seems insane. But they're running Circle instead, maybe for like more going burst, like combo-age. 2 Called By, 1 Talents, Snake Eye Trap as well. So yeah, we're Diabell Star Snake Eye for sure. 3 Imperm, Typhon. So also, I think what's interesting about like next format is we have like a lot of generic link packages that we see with Rescue Ace in this deck. You know, 1 Lingaribo, 1 Anima, 1 IP, 1 SP, 1 Hiata, Dark Charmer, so 2 Charmers, Fire Wolf, or Sunlight Wolf. This new Link 3 is broken. It's definitely making me question if I want to play Terahertz and Rescue Ace, just because having like, you know, like another interruption just in your graveyard, that's pretty broken. You know, destroy 1 card you control, or 1 fire you control, and 1 card they control. It's a really good effect, I think. So this card might change things. Restriction of being locked into fires is kind of weird because you can't go into like something like Apo after, but I think this card's pretty damn good. Celine, because we do have so much access to the Diabell Star package, it makes sense we would play Celine. Heat Soul, Appaloosa, Access Code, the other Salamangreat card, and then World Ocean, Zeados. Definitely a popular card in some of these Fire King lists. We're citing 1 of the Fire Kaiju, 2 Nib, 3 Lancia. I've seen Lancia, even people just like playing Dagda in the extra or side for Lancia has been really popular. It's because they have Ritual Beast and Infernoid already. So because they have Ritual Beast and Infernoid already, you know, those decks aren't like necessarily doing the best, but they do exist. And then Bell, 2 Crow, 3 Cosmic, 1 Feather Duster, and 2 Evenly Matched. Now for the Rescue Ace, though that was a pretty solid Fire King list. Another generic fusion. 2 Turbulence, 2 Preventer, 1 Fire Engine, 2 Airlifter, 2 Impulse. I've seen people go down to 1, but OCG is very fond of 2 Impulse. It's very consistent. That's kind of why I ran 2 the last event. 2 Hydrant. I don't think you're going to need 3 Hydrant, even though Hydrant by itself doesn't do a lot with Rescue Ace. It's like 4 monsters, right? But I don't think you're going to want to play more than 2 with the 3 Bonfire now. 1 Dark Witch, 2 more Populous. I think 2 Populous is the right ratio. Does suck to open that card though. 3 Ash, 3 Max C, 3 Emergency, 1 Rescue, 1 Alert, 1 HQ, 2 Wanted. Interesting that they would go down to 2 Wanted. I don't think I'll ever do that. Like that just sounds crazy to me. Playing 2 Wanted, like really not drawing another card. Like also a card that's like good at playing around Droll, playing through Droll. Yeah, that's just so. Maybe Wanted might be expensive in the OCG too. If you know that, let me know. 1 OG, Simple Spoil. 1 for 1, 3 Bonfire, 2 Super Poly. It's also really interesting that like the OCG plays Super Poly so much more than we do. We do see some Rescue Ace that have done well with Super Polys, but definitely more of an OCG card. It kind of has the same effect as Book of Moon too in the Rescue Ace deck, because if you have Hydrant, Turbulence up, you can also just chain Super Poly to that, to an Imperm on Turb. So I kind of like Super Poly, but if you're running the Terahertz package, it's really hard to fit. Called by the Grave, 2 of those. We want to win going first. Rhoda, Prosperity, still at 3 in the TCG. Prosperity is another cool thing about Prosperity with this deck is you can add Populous with it and still special it. Just another starter. So I think 3 Prosperity might be the move for Rescue Ace going forward to even help more with that 1 Airlifter. 1 Contain, 1 Extinguish, 1 Mud Dragon, 1 Garura, 1 of the, sorry, my cat's talking, 1 Grebo, 1 Anima, 2 SP Little Knight, Hiata, Dark Charmer, Phoenix, the card I just met, Prometheus, I think is the name, that's broken, Celine, Unicorn, Apo, Access Code. So like I said, more generic extra deck. I do think a trend will be Nightmare Phoenix popping back up in the Rescue Ace extra deck. The big reason is, I think just because it's fire, it's a good link climb for Prometheus. And like playing through interruptions before you summon your Turbulence when you go second is really important, because you want to pop like their set Imperm or whatever, right? 2 Nib, 2 Lancia, 2 Droll, a lot of 2-ups, 2 Lightning Storm, 1 Hatronade, 1 Talents, 3 Imperm, 1 Extinguish, and 1 Appointer of the Red Lotus. That card's at 3 there, crazy. 3 Diabellstar Dark, so this is just Snake Eye, pure Snake Eye, which is pretty cool to see that it can actually do well on its own. We had 3 Diabellstar, the Dark Witch, 2 of the Big Boss, 3 of the Rhoda, 2, just basically all the Snake Eyes. Kurikara, 3 Ash, 3 Bell, 3 Maxi, 3 Droll, Wanted. They are running the Field Spell, which is pretty cheap right now. And they're running the same lineup that we saw on the Fire King list. So obviously those are 2 of the best like Snake Eye cards, besides the 1 for 1. 1 Nightingale, 1 Zeus, Lingaribo. So we pretty much see another generic, very generic extra deck that almost looks exactly similar to Fire King's. But this is Snake Eye deck. So it is really cool to see that like generic extra decks are coming back. I kind of like when extra decks are more generic. 2 Nib, 3 Lancia, 3 Cosmic, 2 Lightning Storm, a lot of back row removal, then 2 Anti-Spell, like 7 back row removal cards. This dude was not losing the lab. Maybe that means that this deck is actually weak to back row though. And then we have the Infernoid. Now Infernoid actually isn't really coming out anytime soon, I don't think. It's a dual terminal like set, I'm pretty sure, in Japan. So I don't know when it will be coming out in the TCG. I don't think anyone knows, because it's not in Phantom Nightmare and it's probably not going to come out of a main set like that. Just these 2 new broken cards, right? But we have a Grasses Greener Infernoid. Definitely looks scary as hell. We're running like pretty much all the Infernoid monsters. Of course, max out the level 1. And we are running the Horus package as well, but we're only running 2 of the monsters. And just a whole bunch of like max out on the fusion. Obviously we're running instant fusion. So I mean, most interesting thing about this is I would expect like for Infernoid maybe like more of a Predaplant list, because that can search instant fusion, but they're actually just not playing that. So yeah, it definitely means that it's probably not even necessary. I haven't looked into Infernoid too much, but I did play when Infernoid won the YCS. Eric, when he won the YCS with it. It's definitely an RNG deck, I'll just say that. Especially with this, like if you open like multiples of these, you're just done, like so often. And then do we have, yeah, pretty much a whole another generic extra deck. It's interesting the Fire King list wasn't playing this guy, because he's also another really good link in the Fire King deck, in my opinion. We have 3 Nib, 3 Lancia, so pretty much default side deck with Red Reboot. This is another deck that I heard was very cool, Voiceless Voice. Kind of like me right now. That's crazy, Voiceless Voice. Like I'm trying my best out here. Anything cool? I mean, this deck's really cool because it can run a lot of non-engine with the hand traps, and like, so we see 2 Nib, 2 Lancia, 3 Ash, 3 Maxi, 2 Valor, 2 Talents, 2 Super Poly. That's 4, 6, 9, 12, 14, 16 cards. That's a lot for a 43 card list. So I definitely like that about the deck. Definitely think it's worth playing as well. But it is cool to see, like, you know, these cards come back. Anything cool about the extra? The extra is pretty like light, I would say, you know, because we're running like cards like Zeus, Typhon, 4 Fusions, Herald, and then like Anima, Link, Rebo, SP. Definitely cool to see. And then side deck, just 3 Summon Limit, 2 Bell, 2 Droll, 2 Ultimate Slayer, 2 Callby, 2 Cosmic, and 2 E. Yeah, definitely a sweet deck. Yeah, that's it for the OCG rundown. Let me know what you think about these decks, if you think Fire King is also going to be the best deck in the TCG following the list and when these cards come out. But yeah, are you guys also like more hyped for just like YCS Las Vegas? Or are you kind of playing in the now, going to regionals and stuff? Let me know. Peace.